I remember the moment vividly. Sitting at my desk late at night, papers piled high, my phone buzzing with endless notifications, and a half-eaten meal pushed aside. I told myself I was being productive, but deep down, I knew the truth. I was exhausted, disconnected from my family, and barely holding it together. The world told me to keep pushing, to do more, to stay busy. But all it gave me was stress, frustration, and the haunting question, is this all there is to life? And yet, there's a better way. A way rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy and backed by modern science. What if I told you that doing less could make you happier, healthier, and even more successful? Would you believe me? Or would you dismiss it as impossible? Here's the truth. In our pursuit of productivity, we often forget the things that truly matter: our health, our relationships, and our peace of mind. What if you could take back control by simply stepping back? By being lazy, not in the careless sense, but in a smart, intentional way. If you've ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers despite all your hard work, this is your wake-up call. Stick with me, and I'll show you how doing less can unlock a life of clarity and purpose. If this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official. Let's navigate this journey together. Number 1. Be lazy about overworking. There's a quiet truth many of us know but rarely admit. Overworking doesn't make us more accomplished, it makes us more exhausted. He was a man in his mid-40s, proud of his career and determined to provide for his family. Yet every evening he'd collapse into bed, mentally drained and emotionally distant, wondering why he felt so unfulfilled despite his hard work. Sound familiar? It's a story that resonates with many of us, especially men juggling professional responsibilities with the desire to be present at home. The pressure to do more, achieve more, and constantly stay ahead can feel overwhelming. But here's the paradox. By working endlessly, we often sacrifice the very things we're working for: our relationships, health, and peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but your estimate of it. In other words, our relentless drive to overwork is often a product of our own mindset, not a necessity imposed by life. Think about it. When you say yes to every task, stay late at the office, or check emails during dinner, what are you giving up? He realized this one evening when his young son asked why he never played catch anymore. That simple question cut deeper than any missed deadline. It was a wake-up call, a moment to rethink priorities. To break free from the cycle of overworking, you need clear strategies. First, set boundaries. Use tools like time blocking to define your work hours. When your workday ends, step away from the desk, both physically and mentally. This isn't just about improving your personal life. Studies in neuroscience reveal that our brains function best when they have time to rest and recharge. Creativity and problem-solving flourish not during long hours at a desk, but in moments of pause. Second, focus on what truly matters. It's easy to get caught up in busy work, ticking off minor tasks that make us feel productive without actually moving the needle. Instead, identify the tasks that align with your core goals and delegate or eliminate the rest. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? If the answer is no, it might not deserve your time today. Third, learn to say no. It's a skill many of us struggle with, especially in the workplace. But saying no to non-essential tasks isn't selfish, it's necessary. By protecting your time and energy, you can devote yourself fully to the commitments that truly matter. As Epictetus wisely noted, no man is free who is not master of himself. By mastering your time, you reclaim your freedom. Overworking isn't just a personal challenge, it's a cultural phenomenon. We wear busyness like a badge of honor, equating long hours with dedication and success. But let's challenge that narrative. True success lies in balance, in the ability to excel professionally without losing sight of what's meaningful personally. When you step back and allow yourself to be lazy about overworking, you create space for reflection, connection, and growth. One man, after years of grinding without pause, decided to implement these changes. He began leaving his office at 6 p.m., setting a firm boundary that allowed him to spend evenings with his family. At first, it felt uncomfortable, even unproductive. But over time, he noticed the benefits. He was more focused during work hours, more present at home, and far less stressed overall. His career didn't suffer. In fact, it flourished. By prioritizing his energy, he became more efficient and effective. So, here's the question. What are you sacrificing in your pursuit of endless productivity? Could it be your health, your family, or the simple joys of life? Stoicism teaches us to align our actions with what truly matters, and modern science backs this up. Studies show that chronic stress from overworking increases cortisol levels, which can lead to burnout, weakened immunity, and even heart problems. The choice is yours. Will you continue to push past your limits, hoping for fulfillment that never comes? Or will you pause, reflect, and redefine success on your own terms? Take a moment to consider what's truly important to you. The next time you feel tempted to overwork, remember this. Sometimes doing less isn't lazy, it's smart. It's a choice to live intentionally, to honor your time and energy, and to focus on what matters most. And isn't that what we all truly want? A life where our work serves us, not the other way around. Number 2, be lazy about screen overload. There's a moment we all recognize. He sat at the dinner table, phone in hand, scrolling through emails while his family chatted around him. The conversation faded into the background, drowned out by the pull of the screen. When he looked up, it hit him. He was there, but not really present. Sound familiar? It's a reality for many of us in a world where screens dominate our attention. We live in the age of connectivity, yet somehow, it feels like we're drifting further apart from our loved ones, our passions, and even ourselves. Have you ever wondered how many meaningful moments slip away while you're glued to a glowing rectangle? Screens promise entertainment, productivity, and connection, but often deliver distraction, stress, and fatigue instead. Think about it. How many times have you checked your phone, telling yourself it's just for a minute, only to lose an hour? One man found himself scrolling late into the night, not because he needed to, but because the endless feed of updates and notifications kept pulling him back. His morning started sluggishly, his focus shattered by the overuse of his devices. It wasn't until he stepped back that he realized the toll it was taking, not just on his productivity, but on his peace of mind. As Epictetus once said, freedom is the ability to live as we choose. Yet, when our days are consumed by screens, are we truly free? Or are we chained to distractions that keep us from engaging with the world around us? Studies in modern neuroscience reveal that excessive screen time rewires our brain, reducing focus and increasing anxiety. When we overindulge, we rob ourselves of the clarity and balance needed to thrive. What's the solution? Start by creating intentional boundaries. Dedicate specific hours of the day to being screen-free. Mornings are a perfect time. Rather than reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, try starting the day with a cup of coffee, some light stretches, or even a quiet moment of reflection. Those first few minutes can set the tone for the hours that follow, grounding you before the demands of the day begin. It's not just about when to avoid screens, it's also about how you use them. Limiting social media is a powerful step. Have you ever scrolled through an endless feed, feeling emptier with each post? That's not a coincidence. Social media often creates a highlight reel of others' lives, fueling comparison and dissatisfaction. Instead, focus your screen time on activities that genuinely enrich you. Watch a documentary, listen to a thought-provoking podcast, or take an online class that sparks your curiosity. Make it purposeful, not mindless. One woman, determined to regain control, made a simple change. She turned off notifications for all but essential apps. The constant interruptions stopped, and she found herself more present at work, less frazzled at home, and surprisingly happier. Her experience echoes the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By managing her attention, she reclaimed her peace. And let's not forget the impact of screens on our relationships. How many times have you reached for your phone in the middle of a conversation? Each glance sends a subtle message. This device is more important than you right now. Over time, these moments add up, creating distance where there should be a connection. Reclaim that time. Share meals without distractions. Have real conversations. Play a game or take a walk together. These are the moments that build bonds far more than a quick like or a comment ever could. Humor can help us shift our habits too. Picture this. He decided to leave his phone in another room during dinner. At first, he felt like a teenager being grounded, restless, distracted, checking his pockets for a device that wasn't there. But by the end of the meal, something changed. He laughed harder at his daughter's jokes, felt more engaged with his wife's stories, and realized he hadn't missed anything important online. The world kept turning, even without him checking. So let me ask you, how many hours of your day are you giving away to a screen that doesn't give much back? What could you gain if you chose to unplug, even just for a while? Being lazy about screen overload isn't about avoiding technology. It's about using it wisely. It's choosing moments of clarity over chaos, connection over distraction, and presence over passivity. The next time your phone buzzes, pause. Ask yourself, do I really need to check this right now, or is there something more meaningful waiting in front of me? This isn't just about cutting back on screen time. It's about reclaiming your life. And that's a choice worth making. Number 3, be lazy about sitting all day. Have you ever sat down for what felt like just a moment, only to realize hours had passed? He knew this routine all too well, starting his morning at the desk, breaking briefly for lunch, and then sinking into his favorite chair in the evening. By bedtime, his back ached, his legs felt heavy, and his energy was non-existent. Yet he told himself, I'm just resting. The truth? Too much sitting was quietly draining his vitality. The human body isn't built for endless stillness. When we sit for long periods, circulation slows, muscles weaken, and even our minds begin to lose sharpness. Neuroscience shows that movement stimulates the release of endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters, while prolonged sitting can lead to increased cortisol levels, leaving us stressed and sluggish. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." Life demands movement, not passivity. But breaking the habit of excessive sitting doesn't require a complete lifestyle overhaul. Small, intentional changes can make a world of difference. He began setting an alarm to stand up every 30 minutes. At first, it felt like an interruption, but as days turned into weeks, he noticed a difference. Lighter steps, less stiffness, and a surprising boost in focus. It wasn't about breaking records, but about reminding his body to stay alive and engaged. Movement doesn't have to mean a trip to the gym or hours of strenuous exercise. Sometimes it's as simple as walking around the block or stretching between tasks. She made it a habit to stand while taking phone calls, pacing slowly as she spoke. Over time, what started as a minor adjustment became a cornerstone of her routine, helping her stay energized throughout the day. Humor often helps reframe habits. One man joked, "My chair was my longest relationship until I started cheating on it with a standing desk." It's a light-hearted reminder that even small adjustments, like swapping a traditional chair for a standing option or using a high counter to work, can have profound effects. These changes aren't about rejecting comfort, but about redefining it. And what about those moments when sitting feels inevitable, like during a long meeting or a favorite TV show? Even then, subtle shifts can help. A quick stretch during commercial breaks or standing while jotting down notes can prevent stiffness from setting in. The key is to approach sitting not as the default, but as a choice, one that's balanced with mindful movement. How often do you pause to ask yourself, have I been sitting too long? The answer might surprise you. The act of standing, stretching, or taking a few steps might feel insignificant, but these small movements are lifelines for your body and mind. They remind you of your inherent vitality, the energy you carry within, just waiting to be awakened. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. As Epictetus wisely noted, no great thing is created suddenly. The same applies to building habits that honor your health. Each step you take, each moment you rise, is a quiet victory against the inertia that sitting imposes. So let's reflect. When was the last time you truly moved with intention? What's stopping you from standing right now, even for just a moment? Being lazy about sitting all day doesn't mean ignoring the need for rest. It means choosing rest wisely, as a break between moments of movement, not the other way around. The next time you find yourself sinking into your chair for hours on end, consider this. Your body thrives on motion. It craves the act of living. Will you rise to the occasion? Number 4, be lazy about overeating. We've all been there. The table is filled with delicious food, and you promise yourself it's just one more bite. But before you know it, your plate is empty, and you're reaching for seconds, or even thirds. He felt it most during family gatherings, surrounded by laughter and comforting dishes that reminded him of simpler times. Yet afterward, he'd sit back, uncomfortably full, asking himself why he couldn't stop. Overeating isn't just about food, it's about the emotions tied to it. For many, eating becomes a way to cope with stress, celebrate joy, or fill idle moments. But have you noticed how that extra help often leaves you feeling sluggish rather than satisfied? Modern science shows that overindulgence disrupts energy levels and impairs mental clarity. It's not just what you eat, it's how much and why. Stoicism teaches us to practice moderation. Epictetus said, "Curb your desire. Don't set your heart on so many things, and you will get what you need." This principle applies perfectly to eating. When you embrace mindful habits, you gain control over your choices rather than letting your cravings dictate them. One woman decided to change her relationship with food. She started serving herself smaller portions, savoring each bite instead of rushing through meals. At first, she feared she'd feel deprived, but something surprising happened. She discovered that by slowing down, she could taste her food, taste it, for the first time in years. Her meals became more satisfying, and she realized she didn't need as much to feel full. It's a simple shift, but one with profound effects. Being lazy about overeating doesn't mean ignoring your appetite. It means honoring it in a way that aligns with your health and well-being. Start by choosing quality over quantity. A colorful plate of vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains not only nourishes your body, but also keeps you energized throughout the day. And don't forget hydration. How often do we mistake thirst for hunger? Drinking a glass of water before meals can help curb unnecessary cravings. Humor, too, has its place in this journey. He liked to joke that his eyes were always hungrier than his stomach. It was his way of acknowledging the disconnect between what we think we need and what we require. By pausing before reaching for more, he gave his body a chance to signal when enough was truly enough. Social situations can be especially tricky. Have you ever felt pressured to eat more simply because everyone else is? At a gathering, she found herself reaching for dessert, even though she wasn't hungry, just to fit in. But then she realized something. Enjoying a smaller portion or skipping entirely didn't make her any less part of the moment. In fact, it allowed her to focus on the laughter and conversations instead of feeling uncomfortably full. Let's reflect for a moment. How often do we eat without thinking, letting habit or emotion guide us? And what would happen if we paused to ask, am I truly hungry, or am I eating out of boredom or stress? Mindful eating isn't just about controlling portions. It's about tuning in to your body's signals and responding with care. Overeating may feel comforting in the moment, but the discomfort it brings later, both physical and emotional, can't be ignored. By being intentional about your choices, you're not only improving your health, but also practicing self-respect. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Food isn't the enemy, but our relationship with it can be when it's ruled by impulse rather than intention. So here's the question. How can you bring more balance to your plate and your life? The next time you sit down to eat, take a deep breath, savor the first bite, and let yourself fully experience the flavors. And when you feel satisfied, allow yourself to stop. Being lazy about overeating isn't about restriction. It's about liberation. Will you choose to nourish yourself with mindfulness and purpose? The answer, quite literally, is on your plate. Number 5, be lazy about staying up late. Staying up late always starts innocently. He told himself he deserved just one more episode, a quick scroll through his phone, or a few extra moments to unwind. But before he knew it, the clock struck midnight, and he was still glued to the screen. The next morning, it always came with the same regret. Grogginess, low energy, and a promise to sleep earlier that night. Sound familiar? Many of us fall into this cycle, thinking late-night hours are a reward for a hard day's work. But what are we gaining? The truth is, those stolen hours often leave us paying the price in lost focus, mood swings, and even long-term health issues. Modern neuroscience has shown that deep sleep is when our brains consolidate memories, regulate emotions, and detoxify. Yet, when we choose distractions over rest, we deprive ourselves of these vital processes. Stoicism reminds us to align our actions with reason. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." But how often do we greet the day with gratitude when we've stayed up too late? Instead, we stumble through it, fueled by caffeine and frustration, just trying to make it to bedtime. One woman realized this after months of late-night scrolling that left her feeling perpetually drained. She decided to make a change. She replaced her phone with a book before bed, dimmed the lights an hour earlier, and allowed her evenings to wind down gently. At first, it felt strange, like she was missing out. But within weeks, she noticed a transformation. Her mornings felt brighter, her thoughts clearer, and her mood lighter. This shift doesn't have to be complicated. Small adjustments can make all the difference. Begin by creating an evening routine that signals your body it's time to rest. Maybe it's sipping chamomile tea, writing in a journal, or listening to soft music. These rituals don't just help you fall asleep, they help you value the process of winding down. And what about screens? They're one of the biggest culprits behind our late nights. The blue light emitted by phones and laptops tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime, disrupting the natural production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. How often do we tell ourselves, just 5 more minutes, only to lose an hour? He used to do this every night, checking emails or scrolling social media long after the house was quiet. Once he started setting a digital curfew, no screens after 9:30 p.m., his sleep improved dramatically. Humor helps too. She liked to joke that she wasn't staying up late, she was just researching insomnia. It's a lighthearted way to admit how easily we justify bad habits. But behind the joke is a serious point. Late nights often bring short-term satisfaction at the cost of long-term well-being. Of course, there will be exceptions. Nights when celebrations run late, or work deadlines demand extra effort. But these should be the exception, not the rule. When you consistently prioritize rest, you equip yourself to handle life's challenges with resilience and clarity. Have you ever noticed how a good night's sleep changes everything? Problems that felt overwhelming the night before suddenly seem manageable. Conversations flow more easily, and even mundane tasks feel lighter. That's not a coincidence, it's the power of a rested mind and body. So ask yourself, what are you trading for those late-night hours? Is it worth sacrificing your energy, focus, and peace for fleeting distractions? Or could you embrace the wisdom of being lazy about staying up late, choosing rest as a foundation for productivity and joy? Being lazy about staying up late doesn't mean you're giving up on life's pleasures. It means you're choosing to live fully, with the energy and clarity that only good sleep can provide. The next time you find yourself reaching for your phone or pressing play on another episode, pause. Ask yourself, will this matter more than feeling rested tomorrow? The answer might surprise you. Rest isn't just a luxury, it's the key to thriving. Will you give yourself the gift of a good night's sleep? As we've explored together, being lazy isn't about neglect. It's about making intentional choices that honor your health, relationships, and peace of mind. We've talked about how overworking drains your energy, how screen overloads rob your attention, and why sitting too much can steal your vitality. We also touched on the importance of mindful eating and the gift of embracing rest through earlier nights. Each of these lessons is rooted in simplicity, but holds the power to transform your daily life. The truth is, life isn't meant to be a constant grind. When you permit yourself to step back, you create space for clarity, focus, and meaningful connections. It's not about doing nothing, it's about doing what truly matters. These shifts may feel small at first, but with practice, they become habits that support a life of balance and purpose. So let me ask you, which of these ideas will you try first? Could you start by limiting your screen time or maybe prioritizing an earlier bedtime tonight? Small steps lead to big changes, and your journey begins with one choice. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your personal reflections or a change you're ready to make in the comments below. Let's support one another in this journey toward living intentionally. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official. Together, we'll continue exploring ways to live smarter, simpler, and happier.